In this video, I want to talk about people who try to justify immoral behavior. And it's very easy to do this. I think you can justify almost anything with fancy words. Like, for example, one night stands, they call that casual sex, or they call it just having fun. When what it really is, it's using each other, it's using people, it's immoral behavior. And you're just trying to justify it by giving it a fancy word. I'm just having fun. Oh, it's just casual sex, something like that. So, yeah, this happens a lot that people try to justify their immoral behavior by just, sugarcoating it, really, using nice words. And in that way we can sugarcoat everything, but that doesn't change the facts, that doesn't change the truth. So, if you want to have fun, go watch a nice movie with a friend or even with your girlfriend or whatever. There are many ways to have fun. You don't have to use people to have fun. So, you can like try to um, look at things from a perspective that makes you feel good about what you're doing, but is what you're doing actually good for your soul? I'm not talking about is it good for your body. Having a sexual encounter with a stranger, I think, can be very stressful actually, because you don't even know that person. And I'm not even talking about the consequences it could have, like, you know, um, transmittable sexual diseases, getting robbed, getting mugged, or being seduced by the wrong person who just wants to lure you somewhere so that they can beat you up, or get certain information, things like that. Because you're really making yourself vulnerable when you choose to trust a stranger. You got to know someone first, at the very least, before you choose to do something very intimate with that person. So obviously, it's kind of stupid to just jump into bed with a stranger. But also, if we look at what it does to your emotional well being, if you have a strong conscience, then you know that you're not really being true to yourself. I don't even need to explain that. People with a strong conscience know how they feel. They feel dirty, they feel used, and so on. If they try to do that, sleep with a stranger. So I think it's mostly like people who don't feel that, so people with a weak conscience who feel perfectly okay using fancy words to justify that kind of childish behavior, because that's really what it is. It's childish, and it definitely comes from ego. It's not the heart that says, let's go use another person to feed my sex addiction, or to I don't know, feed my ego or whatever. Like, that's where it comes from. It doesn't come from love, because people who sleep with each other, like, right away, they don't actually respect each other. They don't actually want to um, get to know each other. Not really, because you definitely don't see that person as relationship material. So, that's just one example of how people can try to, yeah, just lie about what they're really doing to themselves and others. And this is not just for, sexual relationships. It can also be the case that you're a drug addict or whatever, and you're just trying to, like, look for excuses why it's totally okay to steal from people so that you can get high. And a lot of people are doing it, and that's why I just wanted to make a video. Like, you got to be true to yourself if you really want to find some kind of peace and happiness. Like, temporary pleasure is not happiness. That's just very short lived. That cannot be an answer, because that's like putting a band-aid, trying to put a band-aid on a wound that's bleeding. Um, but if that band-aid is just temporarily and dissolves very quickly, then the wound will just keep bleeding, right? So that's obviously not a solution to your problems. It's obviously not a good way to live your life. In fact, these kind of things, like loveless sex, that's a good way to actually create more troubles. It creates more troubles than it solves. It's much better, of course, to actually get to know a person, not pretend to like a person just to get into their pants. No, actually get to know a person, see if you like them, and then if you like them and start to care about them, then you can see if there's more than friendship. That's totally fine. But that's very different than, what a lot of people are doing. And then, a lot of people actually say like Americans are in general very shallow. But if you look at what they focus on, which is I need to get laid, I'm getting laid. That's not a way to measure success at all. That's just uh, something that tells me that you're kind of childish and that you like to follow your dick, and that's not a good example. That's not being a good example. And then, a lot of people think that money is everything. Well, if you think that way, then clearly you don't know anything about what kind of value lies within yourself, because all value is actually derived from the self. We put value into things, even into money. We decide what it's worth. It's just paper. It's not worth anything. We put value into things. So all value comes from within. And you need to find out what your real worth is. You need to find out that you're whole, that you're beautiful, and so on. And you don't do that by chasing your ego or your penis. So really, people need to like start going within and start finding what it is that makes them truly happy. Your ego is a bottomless pit. Doing what the ego says is not going to make you happy. And you're allowed to go through those processes. We have to experience darkness to appreciate the light. We have to appreciate ourselves. And maybe we need to go through certain experiences to be able to do that. And that's fine. But if you're going to remain stuck in such a dark path, then that's your life. It's kind of like depressing to remain stuck in darkness, isn't it? So that's why I decided to kind of make this video to wake people up. There's no judgment, especially not if you look at things from a higher perspective. I'm not saying that if you're sleeping around a lot or doing drugs or doing too much alcohol that automatically means that you're lost and a bad person. Maybe you're doing those things for a reason, and I think it's already a lot if you can acknowledge that what you're doing is not good for your soul, and that you're determined to rise above your addiction or rise above, um, those kind of behaviors. But really, it's important to realize that you're already whole, and you need to find that out, and you can only do that by going within. You cannot do that by constantly chasing things outside of yourself. So I really hope that more and more people start to wake up and see that you know the way to happiness, it starts with taking responsibility for your own behavior and looking at yourself and deciding that it's really not good for you. It's not good because it doesn't give you peace at all. In fact, it does the opposite. It makes you feel bad about yourself. Can lead to self-loathing, that kind of behavior. So you can always turn things around and just start, you know, being a person that comes from a place of love rather than a place of addiction or a place of lack. Because why do we chase things? Because we experience lack somehow. Like we come from perhaps a wounded place within ourselves when we think that we need to do that destructive stuff, but we really don't need to do it. We need to just heal ourselves, and only then we can really be good for ourselves. So yeah, that's just something I wanted to share in this video. I guess what I'm trying to say is stop living in denial, stop trying to justify things. Instead, accept that what you're doing is not good for you. Actually accept that, and then start working on, becoming a better person, and on, you know, making it so that you can do good things and not make poor choices. Because too many poor choices do lead to a poor life, and that's not what I want for you. I want you to have a good life. So that's why I think it's good to look at your own behavior and see what you can improve. And we should never like lie to ourselves, because that does not lead to anything good. Thank you for watching.